Back in 2005, I just took over running Brookline Tai Chi. I was teaching about 20 hours a week, I was learning the ropes for managing the school, and I needed an energy practice that helped me kind of stay focused on transitioning this organization into a completely new way of running, keep up my energy for classes, and really handle all the work that was coming at me from a lot of different directions. So the two biggest things that did that for me were my standing Qigong practice and really specifically doing Xingyi, the standing practice and some of the basic training for that art. Now, one of the things you have to understand is that it sounds like, okay, I'm doing 20 hours a week of Tai Chi, but I was teaching 20 hours a week of classes. And if you're actually teaching and not practicing separately on your own, you really use up all your juice, because the stuff you're teaching people should be a little bit, it's not the same as what you're doing in your own personal practice. So your own way of kind of getting your own energy up needs to be totally separate from what you're doing teaching. So I had to do something, sneak something in. It had to be really powerful, and I had to be able to fit it into a really busy work schedule. And the primary thing that I did was getting into holding standing postures. Now, these are some really simple ones where your arms come up. You do maybe the arms by the sides, or a lot of you know just the basic energy gates standing with the arms in neutral by the sides. The basic standing that you do in energy gates is really good for sort of starting to explore that internal landscape. But when it's time to really crank up the juice, you need to basically get your arms up in the air. So you need additional postures beyond just this first kind of clearing posture. Xingyi, one of the core practices of Xingyi, is holding this posture called Santi, right? So you drop in here, you've got one hand low and one hand high. And actually a related practice to just holding this is to go through several different steps of a form where you're holding each posture for a series of breaths as you go through that sequence. You do 9 breaths per posture, per move, into all this drilling, all this turning. And even there, to do for 20, 30 minutes of a set like that really gets things moving. I've said this before about other Qigong sets, that you have to hit a certain threshold with any single repetitive practice, or like the 30-minute Tai Chi form, something like that. The same is true in holding a standing posture. 5 minutes is okay, 10 minutes is okay, but once you cross that line where you're holding for 20, 30, an hour, whatever it is, then what you feel inside really starts to get moving. So back then, I found through standing postures, through Xingyi specifically, it was like tapping into an oil reserve that you didn't, just discovering a new oil well. You tap into this deep energetic reserve that gives you the juice to just move through your day. So you do that training in the morning, and then you just feel like you have all this momentum to go through. And the one thing I will say is that, like some of these postures, just with the arms up really simply in front of your body like this, that opens up a lot of internal space. Or if you're holding postures from the Tai Chi form, right, you start to sort of sit back and watch and feel these internal connections come online as you do the standing posture. There's a little bit different experience, though, of just holding Santi and going through the different phases of the first Xingyi move. And that's because in this posture, you have everything kind of coming together on the midline of the body, and you're gazing off of your index finger. And what it does, it's hard to describe, but it just kind of grabs you and pulls you forward. It gives you this focus and this intent, and that's part of what Xingyi is famous for, that really aligns your awareness and your focus, and it gets your body into that too. So you just feel kind of like this arrow going straight ahead. So to me, that was the kind of focus that I needed to set a new direction for this organization, pull everything together, and keep things moving ahead. So doing that Xingyi practice, doing the standing Qigong practices really made a difference when I needed a lot of extra energy at work.